And first at 5, new information about a shooting that badly injured a sheriff's deputy. Detectives have identified the gunman as Christopher James Graves. Thank you for joining us here at 5. I'm Laurel Porter. The shooting happened as deputies were trying to evict Graves from his apartment for not paying May rent or utilities. Let's go right to Mike Benner now, who's at the Tualatin apartment complex where this all happened. But first of all, Mike, how is the injured deputy doing?
Yeah, Laurel, at last check, he was in critical but stable condition. He's at Legacy Emmanuel Medical Center getting some great care. In the meantime, here at Forest Rim Apartments, neighbors are still trying to process what happened Wednesday morning. A piece of plywood covers the front door of apartment B201 at the Forest Rim Apartments in Tualatin. This is where investigators say 34-year-old Christopher James Graves opened fire on several Washington County Sheriff's deputies Wednesday morning.
I heard shouting. It was pretty bad, I heard shouting, I heard banging, I heard, then the next thing a few seconds later, I heard 3 gunshots go off, and then I heard 3 more almost immediately after.
Downstairs neighbor Richard Osborne recalls hearing approximately 9 gunshots before he took cover inside his own apartment. Authorities say Graves shot at deputies as they tried to serve him with an eviction notice for not paying May rent or utilities. We're told one deputy was shot multiple times. The others were not hurt. About 2 hours after the shooting, Graves was found dead inside his apartment. It's unclear if he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound or return gunfire from law enforcement.
I mean, I've seen him on occasion. I never really had any direct interactions with him.
Osborne tells us he didn't know much about Graves. In fact, not one neighbor we spoke with did. They all had very little interaction with him.
It was just, just in passing, hey, good morning, that was just about it. They didn't really talk much, didn't really have any reason to interact with him.
It only adds to the mystery of what happened. A shootout neighbors won't forget anytime soon.
Yes, this is very shocking. It's not something you would expect in a neighborhood like this.
All right, back out here live, I do want to clarify one thing. It was initially reported by law enforcement that there was some sort of confrontation between Graves and the deputies right before the shooting. Well, it turns out that's not the case. We're told now that Graves shot at the deputies from inside his apartment before they even reached him. Again, the injured deputy is at the hospital in critical but stable condition. Laurel.
Best wishes for a full recovery to him. Mike Benner live in Tualatin. Thank you. We have new developments in the special counsel investigations into former President Donald Trump. A Florida grand jury has now indicted Trump on an additional count in the classified documents case. Prosecutors say Trump and his aides asked a staffer to delete camera footage at his Mar-a-Lago estate in an effort to obstruct the investigation. One of those aides, Carlos de Oliveira, the head of maintenance at Mar-a-Lago, has now been added as a defendant, along with Trump and his personal aide, Walt Nauta. A Trump spokesman dismissed the charges as an attempt by the Biden administration to influence the 2024 presidential election. We have new details tonight on a scary incident at the Pioneer Courthouse in downtown Portland earlier this month. That's when a man attacked a U.S. Marshals officer who was guarding the courthouse. And now we've learned there was no ambulance available to help the injured guard. Evan Watson joins us now. And Evan, this is just the latest high-profile case to be connected to ambulance problems.
Yeah, Laurel, I've been sharing reports about ambulance provider AMR for a while now and the issues throughout the region, from slow responses to staffing shortages to a lack of available ambulances. Well, this time, agents had to drive a federal officer to the hospital while he was bleeding from his head. In a federal affidavit, investigators say Jet Thomas climbed a courthouse gate, choked and punched the officer in the head, put him in a chokehold outside, and then hit him in the head with his radio. The officer later shot Thomas twice. Thomas is charged with assaulting a federal employee. An FBI agent said there was no ambulance available to take the officer to the hospital, and we confirmed that with dispatch data. AMR was at level 0 that morning. Both men survived their injuries, but it does bring up the question, what if the outcome of this situation was worse?
At the end of the day, if someone's experiencing a medical crisis in the city when they call 911, it's our moral responsibility to have an ambulance available, just full stop.
AMR being at level 0 is nothing new. Dispatchers couldn't immediately send an ambulance crew to 29 different 911 calls on July 3rd, the day of this alleged assault. In Multnomah County, more than 6,000 emergency calls have received the level 0 treatment this year alone. AMR says it's working to increase staffing and triage ambulance response to solve these problems, while county leaders have called AMR's performance incredibly disturbing, but have so far declined to fine the company or force changes. Laurel.
That is troubling information. Thank you, Evan. We could soon see a new clean energy project in the Gorge that will help Oregon meet its lofty climate goals. But it faces some stiff opposition from native tribes who say the project feels like history repeating itself. Environmental reporter Cale Williams will bring you the full story tonight at 6 o'clock on The Story and has this preview.
This project is proposed for an area south of Goldendale, Washington, and it's actually a pretty ingenious way to store energy. One of the big problems with wind and solar is that they don't always produce energy when we need it the most. So for this project, the developer would build two 60-acre reservoirs, one down by the river and another 2,000 feet up a nearby mountain. When there's extra energy from wind and solar, they pump the water through a 3,000-foot-long tunnel into the upper reservoir. When they need that energy, they release it from the top reservoir through a turbine in the tunnel, which spins and generates enough electricity to power the city of Seattle for up to 12 hours. The problem? The area where they want to build it is home to several sites that are sacred to the citizens of Yakama Nation. Elaine Harvey, she said it feels all too familiar.
At a personal level, it's really heartbreaking. And, I think about our ancestors who had to deal with the dams being built. They had to deal with highways and railroads being constructed. This is another, it's like another wave.
We'll have much more for you, including how the system works and what the tribes are doing to stop it, tonight at 6 on The Story.
We're looking forward to that. Millions of federal dollars are coming to Oregon to guard against terrorism and deal with natural disasters. That's according to Oregon's U.S. Senators Jeff Merkley and Ron Wyden, who announced the investments today. Our Tim Gordon's breaking this down for us. And Tim, we're talking about nearly $20 million here.
That's right, Laurel. A lot of money in the form of grants awarded to public and tribal agencies. That's where the majority of the money goes. But there are a few dozen smaller grants going to nonprofit organizations that are at a higher risk of terrorist attack.
In the Portland metro area, the Department of Homeland Security grants were awarded to 8 Jewish organizations, mostly synagogues like Congregation Beth Israel in Northwest Portland.
We love this campus. We love our location, and there are challenges to being an urban location. And those challenges are not new, but they're increasing.
Security challenges and concerns about growing anti-Semitism and terrorist threats across the country. Senior Rabbi Michael Kahana is quick to say his congregation feels the love from most of Portland.
We remain a welcoming community, and we are proud of our identity, and we know that anti-Semitism is not reflected by the majority of the people in our community by any means. And yet individual bad actors are also a reality.
Like most awarded a grant, Congregation Beth Israel will receive $150,000. It will go to add more lighting on the large campus and make security systems already in place more cohesive. In Southwest Portland, Middleman Jewish Community Center serves the area and includes a day school, the Portland Jewish Academy. It has also been awarded a grant this year that will go to add more bullet-resistant glass, improve security camera systems inside and out, and train staff. Its executive director says it's necessary.
Sadly, we occasionally find flyers or have graffiti. We've had a number of years ago, we had a bomb threat. So there have been various incidents that have made us concerned. And when we look sort of at what's happening regionally and nationally, we know that it's important to be proactive about security.
So those grants help individual organizations, but again, the bulk of the money goes to public and tribal agencies, like nearly $5 million for the state Homeland Security program and nearly $3.8 million for local agencies in Portland, in the Portland area, and more than $5 million going to emergency management agencies across the state, all to prevent acts of terrorism and to respond to them if they happen, and to deal with natural disasters as well. Laurel.
We hope the money helps. Thank you, Tim.